Hello and welcome to the first of our card and the Cuppas for July 2006. My name is Fiona Whitten and I'm going to share with you today the actual card that was made this morning and then also, and the kit I should say, and then I'm going to make a second card. So I'm just checking to make sure that this is going out live. It appears to be. I don't know how many people are going to watch live today because there's lots of stuff going on here. We've got England playing soccer, and we've also got the Wimbledon going on. So I'm sure people would actually rather go and watch those and then play and then catch this on catch up. But hey, it doesn't matter. But anyway, so this is the card, and I have to confess, this was not designed by me. This was designed by Tricia. I've been away for the last month over in the States, so which meant that I wasn't able to actually prepare any kits for this month. So Tricia's done one, and Carol has done the other for 2 weeks' time. So this is the card that Tricia came up with, or at least my card's not identical to what hers was. I guess I should say I didn't really pay attention too much. I guess I should blame the jet lag. But it has all the elements on there, but not necessarily in the same place that Tricia had them. So this is a spinner, and I'll show you more about that at the moment. And it's actually this bit here. The silver bit you're going to, the circle, the frame you're going to glue on, and mine's not quite even, so when you spin it, it looks like it's doing an oval, but it's not. Anyway, so this is what I made this morning. Inside looks like this. I chose to stamp and then stick the last bit of the die on. So that's my card, and this is the kit that Tricia gave us. So envelope as always, and I think there might be something in here still. There is. So that's the envelope. So she has a white card blank, piece of cardstock, which we're going to use as a layer to hide the white. Piece of cardstock that has been embossed, and it's up to you which way you want to put it. So we've got, you can put the embossed side or the debossed side, it's entirely up to you. We also used a blending brush to apply some Smoky Slate ink onto here, just to sort of make it a bit grungy. And then these are all the die cuts. And in fact, I can actually remember now that I hadn't actually poked all the bits out. So the dies are part of a set from Stampin' Up called Gears and Textures. So there's a stamp set, and then there's also the die set. So we have that, and the chain. I think that's right. There's something else here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's something. There's this little bit here. Not quite sure where that came out. Oh, I know. I think it's probably what's left of the circle and. Oh, I don't know. Funny. Never mind. Okay. Anyway, so that's what we've got. And then this is the little bit that turns it into a spinner card. So I believe that Tricia got these from a well-known internet selling site, beginning with A. So she got those from there. So that's quite a nice idea. I've not come across them before, so they might just have to fall into a bag, box, an order, whatever. So I'm just going to quickly poke these out and then get rid of those little bits because I don't really want them around. Let's see. So there's all the die cuts. She also gave us a piece of Smoky Slate, just a strip of it for the sentiment. So I'm going to start with the embossed piece of cardstock. So she actually used, this is a Tim Holtz embossing folder, which I believe is called Texture Fades. So I've never come across this before, so but it's nice, so you can see all the gears and cogs and things on here. Now normally when I'm doing some ink blending I will fix everything down, but I'm not going to today simply because I don't really need to. So I've just got a piece of scrap paper which I'm going to use so that I don't get ink all over my, that's it, my board. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of ink onto my blending brush, and then I'm just going, starting off just in a swirly way, just going to bring the ink onto the paper, the cardstock. And it's up to you how much you want to put on there. You might not want to put too much, but you may also want to go heavy with it. And also you may want to do all 4 sides, or you might just want to do 2. But I think I'm going to do all 4 this time, because my last time I only did 2 sides, so I did the bottom and one long edge. So I'm just going to quickly do this. And as I said, you can add as much or as little. In fact, you don't have to do any of this. You can just leave it plain. It's really up to you. And you can do this with any embossed piece of card. Right, so I'm going to put this on here and move that out the way because that's the one that's got all the ink on. Find my glue, which I know I had. There we go. I tucked it away so that it was actually upside down, so then I wouldn't have any problems trying to get any ink out. So that's just going to go on there. So that can go here onto this. And then I just need to decide which way round I want this to go on my card. Do I want to do it exactly the same way as I had this one, or actually twist it around and go that way? And I think I will twist it around. So this is the only bit where you have to be careful which way around you're actually putting the embossing folder onto the card front. Because once it's on, it's on. You're not going to be able to remove it unless you're very careful, or if you end up cutting up the card so that you can free that up and then add it to yet another card front, which is a bit of a waste, but needs must at times if it's not gone quite the way that you wanted it. So there's that. Now, what I didn't do, because I wasn't paying attention, was I didn't work out where I was going to put my chain in relation to this large cog. I just stuck it on and then realised, that's not actually going to go on there. So mine's freestanding. So I'm going to make sure that I do have this where I want it. Now you could use like really thin tipped glue, but I found that because the embossing folder is quite so a real 3D one, so the actual embossed shapes do actually stick out quite a bit, and then when you die cut, you kind of, the back of the die cut tends to go in a bit because of the way the cutting bit works. So you can actually be quite generous with using just normal glue. Just obviously try not to go too much all over it. Just make sure it's gone around it. So that's that. And I've got someone here, of course. Typical. So I'm going to want that here, I think. So I want to put this here. So move that one out of the way and put that on. Like that. So I'm going to turn this upside down to make sure that it does stick properly. So that's that. And then putting the cogs and things together, it's really up to you which you layer, which you don't. So as I said, this is the one that you need to be careful to make sure that this silver piece goes with a rim or an edge around the inside that is the same all the way around, and not like I had it before, which is kind of slightly off. Because when it spins, if it's slightly off, it just looks like it's not spinning properly. It is spinning properly, it's just the illusion of not spinning properly that's the having it off centre makes. So I'll put some on there, and I'm going to use a pair of tweezers in the vague hope that I can actually get this on evenly. It's one of those things you kind of want to put enough glue on so that you can move it around. Let's see, let's double check that this is actually right this time around. The also thing is you don't want to be getting glue onto your foil because it never looks very nice afterwards. So that's going to go on here. This piece is also going to go in the centre there. So again, I'm going to put some glue on it. But as I said, you can actually just simply change things around. So these sort of square bits of the cog fit on there nicely, so you can actually see when you've got it in the right place. She says, having not got it in the right place and having put too much glue on. But I'm just going to let that dry for a second. And then I'll attempt to get the... This is one of the reasons you shouldn't put too much on, because things come off with your fingers and it's like, ugh. And then you just get into a really dreadful mess. Which is exactly what I'm doing. So do as I say, not as I do. But hey, there you go. And leave that to dry for a minute or two before you start sticking it all together. Now, let's see, what shall I do next? So we've got this cock. So we can put that one on. Or you can leave it as it was. Oh, I just realised that actually I don't need this chain to be quite that long. So I'm going to attempt to peel that bit up, cut it off, like so. That's just the back of that bit of the chain. So this is going to go on here. That's better. So you could put that on with a dimensional, or you can just simply glue it on. I'm actually going to use some dimensionals, some foam pads for this one. So I'm just going to have a small one, put that on the back. You're not going to be able to send this card as a standard letter because it's going to be thick. So you will have to make sure that you put a large letter stamp on it. You could also use a glue dot if you wanted to, so that's not going to spin, that one. So whilst those two bits are drying, I am going to stamp my sentiment. So we use the Simply Said stamp, and I've got the Happy Birthday on a block already, and my Smoky Slate ink, which is what I used to put the ink around the blend around the edges. So I'm just going to quickly do this. So there's my Happy Birthday. So that's that. So that's just like a tone on tone effect. And what I'm also going to do is on my card, because I had a piece of the die, one of the dies left, I decided I was going to use the ink and stamp this one from the Gears and Textures, but I'm not so sure that I'm going to do that this time. I think I might do something slightly different, and this is stamps. Oh, those are the dies. So this time I'm just going to do this grungy dots. I'll just put that on there, but I don't want it as a dark smoky slate. Oh, my hair on it. That's no good. So I'm going to stamp off first before I stamp into my card. Like so. So it's quite faint, but you can still see it. So that was the first stamp. As I said, onto some scrap, and then that was the second stamp. And then I'm going to stamp. This wheel. So I'm going to stamp a wheel on there as well. So let's see what it fit on there. But this time I am going to use the full-blooded ink. I'm not going to stamp off. So that's that. So that's that on the inside, and I need to do my envelope too. So I'm going to get this one again, stamp off, stamp onto the envelope, just to get a lighter colour background, ink up the cog, and then stamp that directly onto the little bit of background that's been stamped on there. So that's all done. So that's all the inking I'm going to do. So I can put those to one side. That's my envelope. So I'm going to do that up there. This will be dry now on the inside. So this is going to go on here. Now I need to fix this. This is the spinner onto the back of this. So I used glue dots, and I have to admit it was a little bit of trial and error, because trying to pick up a glue dot with a pokey tool or whatever, they always kind of fold over on themselves, which is not good. So suggestion is simply, and that's a bit of a squished one. Never seen a glue dot like that before. It looks like it's like two that have merged. Get rid of that. So I need two glue dots. So the first bit I'm going to do is I'm going to do the top part. So I'm going to do the bottom part. So I just want to put that, try and get it central underneath, which because you can't actually see what you're doing. You can see through. So I know that's kind of central. And I know now that the glue dot is, I was going to say flat, but it doesn't seem to be. And then I want to do exactly the same again on the other, with the other side. So again, I want that central. Now the large side is going to go on the card front. So it kind of wants to go here. See, that spins. And then this wants to go on here. And I'm just using the spokes, these spokes and these bits. See, they still look as if it's going a bit weird. Maybe if I squidge it down a bit and move it around. Because I know that that's even. So mine's obviously still a little off. But hey. So this time I'm going to put my happy birthday here. This one I cut the ends. So the trick is to cut one side, turn it over and place it on the other side and then cut again. So then you get the angles correct for both ends. But this one I'm just going to put it on straight. So that's just going to go on here. And again I'm going to use some foam pads. I was going to say I'm going to use the larger ones, but I just suddenly found out that I don't have any of the larger ones in here. So that's no good. So I'm just going to grab a few of the little ones. You don't actually need that many. I think one each end and then one in the middle is more than enough. If you've got any edging left, you could actually I've got a little what's left of my edging here. I think I will put those extra bits in just to make sure. Oops. So this is going to go, I'm not having it central on the card. Oh, I could put it central on the card. I don't mind things that are not, so it's central on the card but it's not central on the chain, and that for some people that will bother people. For me, no, it's okay. Ooh. It's so hot here and I've got shorts on. I'm kind of sticking to the chair, but hey, you didn't really need to know that. So I'm going to put some extra bits on. So like these I added myself, so I'm going to do exactly the same again. That come from somewhere. Maybe if I can I put that on there? No. And you can mess around with these to little heart's content until you're happy with where things are, and then obviously you can then just fix them on. And I'm just going to use glue. And I'm only going to put the glue on the centre. There's that one. Let's put this one on. Again, just on the centre. And offset that one so that's tucked underneath as well. This is what I was saying about the fact that this embossed card is quite difficult to make sure that things are going to glue and stay on. So you do need to be sort of fairly generous with it. Okay, so the other thing that Tricia did, and I did find mine, which was, she had like a silver Sharpie, which I had. No idea what I've done with it. I found it, I picked it up, thought I brought it over here where I'm doing this, and no, can't find it. So what I did find, she says, is it's still silver, but it's not a Sharpie. So hopefully this will work. Might not. Here's just this one. So I'm just going to put some silver on the centre of these. The ones that where the centre's indented are a lot easier to do with than the ones that where they're not. So this one's not quite as round as it should be, but hey, not going to do that one because we've already got a this doesn't want to go on. I think it's getting on. Just doesn't look it very much. So there we go. So that's the second card. So I'll put on the in the description for the YouTube channel, on the YouTube channel, details of everything that's been used. I'll also find out the name of those whirly things. I've got cogs still left, but I'm not going to use those ones. I think I have enough on here. Yeah, I'm not going to go mad. So, because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got 5 cogs. So that makes sense. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 on here. 3, 4, 5. No, I've got 6 on there, but hey, what the heck. I still like that one, but this one is a bit better. It's a bit more like how Tricia had intended it to be. But hey, it's my card at the end of the day, so it doesn't have to be a perfect copy of hers. It's the whole idea of Card and a Cuppa. You get your kit, and you get to see the inspiration, and then you can go do your own thing, which is what its whole thing is about. So anyway, so those are the 2 cards. So that was the one from this morning at the actual event, and then this is the one that I have made this afternoon. So I hope you enjoyed that. So the video will get uploaded to YouTube. I will be putting this video on as soon as I can, which is not going to be today, it'll be sometime tomorrow. And as I said, I will also put the list of things that have been used. So hope you've enjoyed that, and see you in a couple of weeks. Take care. Bye.